Hello, my beautiful souls. I have prepared something for today's talk in this video that will be useful in our everyday life, and if we implement that practice, our life will definitely change and we're going to be consciously creating our reality the way we want our reality to look like, based on our vision, perception, consciousness, and we absolutely going to be in control of our path. Let's proceed with the video. In today's video, I am going to be talking about triggers. I want to propose something that we all can practice on regular basis and finally be absolutely conscious and aware of what is happening in our body while the trigger is activated. What are the triggers? So something happened, situation occurred, and you perceived that situation in certain negative, usually negative way, or someone triggered you in a certain way that activated some sort of response in your body based on your perception, and this has the basis that are embedded in the stories from your past. And most importantly, triggers are the reaction, the experiences that are happening in our body and not in the outside world. The outside world, of course, is something that we project with our head, but the situation happened and you had a bodily response, therefore you are experiencing that based on the situations and of course the stories, and this is happening internally in you and not externally, not in the external world or not in someone else's body. It is happening in your body. So this is the trigger. Trigger happens. And then, now what? So in summary, situation happened, trigger occurred, then you perceive that trigger, then you project that trigger, then there is emotional response that you are experiencing in your body, then there is a reaction, and then all of this comes down to the situation from the 3D that is outside of your body. So this is how the triggers actually occur and is created. The trigger activates the emotional response, and you feel that in your nervous system, and the emotional response is actually the energy, emotion, usually negative. And yes, so that is the energy that floats in your body. So now what next? Once we are aware of how these things work, how the triggers work, and what are the triggers, now what can we do about it? And the answer is we have to release it. If we are mindfully taking the responsibilities of our personal growth, we need to understand that this things needs to be released, and the more we practice, the easier it gets. So the awareness will help us to spot that occurrence, and then we can actually start observing what is happening inside our body. So the awareness is 100% important here, and being mindful that this occurrence is actually happening in your body. It's not happening in anyone else's body, it's in your body. Therefore, it is your responsibility to deal with that. And usually triggers carry some sort of stories behind them from your past experiences. And the triggers in a present and in a situation when you experience them, actually it takes you back to the stories from your past. And being mindful of this will actually enable us to deal with them and to release them. And once we release them, they are not longer there. The triggers are the energetical pointers, I would say. And if we start releasing them, we are actually growing as human beings. And yeah, and you should be proud of yourself. And yes, feeling the emotions are absolutely necessary, crucial. And I know for sure that because of the programs and because of the society, many people don't want to feel emotions, and actually, very sadly, they don't even know how to feel emotions. Therefore, they are running away from the emotional response, and this creates a never-ending story, because if the person is not aware of these things, then what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. And we as mindful conscious beings, we want to go to a different level of awareness. Therefore, we need to work on ourselves every single day and be a better human being than yesterday. And I strongly encourage all of us to do this, because the benefits are it's just, you cannot count them really. You know what? I don't know if you can see, the lighting has improved a little bit. It's at the moment in the UK so dark and I need to use 3 sets of lights. So just if you would be interested in that. So yeah, that's the situation right now. And I have to deal with it, and that's okay. I want you guys to understand that triggers are actually not bad. Triggers and people that are triggering us are kind of blessing, because and then once we can spot that pattern, we can actually work on that. So yeah, these things are actually blessings, and people will teach you all sorts of lessons, consciously or unconsciously. And yes, so being triggered is actually not that bad thing, if you think about it, because triggers are the pointers, the indicators of where we actually should look. And in order to be on a different level of consciousness, we absolutely have to look there, deal with it. But also we need to take a full responsibility and accountability that the triggers that are we experiencing in our body is our triggers. And in order to change the surroundings and vibes, we have to do the work with ourselves. Yes. And your ego will prevent you from doing so, because your ego loves comfort. And in order to deal with triggers, you have to feel uncomfortable, and you have to look there, and you have to face that and feel the emotions, not run away from them. But the thing is this: if you mindfully decide to do this and to deal with this, it does not take, I mean, it of course depends, but once you go through the emotional response, emotional situation, and you go through it completely, you're going to be on the other side. that is it. You released that trigger and well done. So yes, one story solved. And one story closer for you to reach a different level of consciousness. And you know what the trigger is actually telling you every single time when you experience that? The trigger is actually crying. The trigger is like, please, please release me. I beg you, release me. I want to be released. Yeah. What you gonna do about it? Because the trigger wants to be released. Please do not keep the trigger, okay? Please don't. Don't keep the energy that is stuck in your body. That's not healthy at all. So our ego will try to prevent us from feeling uncomfortable. Therefore, the ego will be protecting you so much for the trigger to not to be released, and your consciousness will be trying to use all sorts of techniques, tactics, which is running away from it. You know, trying to find a dopamine boost through scrolling and all of this. I'm not going to be talking about this in this video, but you know what I'm talking about. And trying to find a quick fix. And also you might consciously or unconsciously try to manipulate the situation, manipulate the people around. Therefore, instead of you taking the responsibility for your triggers, you try to influence other people to take the responsibilities for you. But this will never ever work. Simple as 2 + 2 is of course 4, is not 5. Don't create more stories on top of the stories and on top of the stories on top of the stories. And now I'm about to say, you guys are waiting for it. I know. Okay, let's talk about the real juicy stuff now. So what do we do with it? How do we release it? How we deal with it? I don't know if you are actually ready for my response, my answer, or maybe you already know what the answer is. Simple. It is actually very simple. But it's not simple in a situation when you're triggered. But it is simple to actually but to use the technique, to use the option. So the option to release the trigger is to relax. You need to relax yourself. And I am not kidding here. I'm not joking. I have tested that out and it works brilliantly for me. And I am sure it will work for you as well, because other people are using this technique and it works. The trigger is released. And the more the triggers, the more you can release the triggers, the better human being you are becoming, and you're taking the full responsibility over your personal growth. Usually the trigger will create a deep emotional response, but remember, you are in full control because you are the creator of your reality. I hope you can hear me because my microphone actually died. Yes, it's okay, I think. So what other options do we have? What other techniques can we use to release the trigger? So other things that we can do is breathing exercise, meditation, trying to be in a present moment, which also requires awareness and consciousness, and this is also connected to actually observing your body and being mindful of what is actually going on, and relaxation. What I usually do if I am at home, I lie down on the floor. I lie down on the floor. I try to erase any thought from my head, and I try to observe my body, and I try to find the place where I feel the stagnant energy, where in my body is actually the energy is trapped. And usually I can feel some heavy chest or some other areas of my body. I try to relax without anything while lying down on the floor, and this helps. So yeah, if you can find what is working best for you, that will be good for you, because then you can practice that on a regular basis. And yes, so that is what I wanted to talk about in this video. But also another technique that helps us is the awareness, but also the self-retrospection. So the awareness, being aware of these things, will activate our retrospection in situations like this. And then once we can understand that, okay, these are the stories from my past, and actually I am going through the trigger, I'm experiencing the trigger, I'm going through the emotional response and all of this, then once I can go into a retrospection, which also should, like, what it helps in that situation is not to react, then we are mastering the art of separating the emotional response, the trigger, from the emotions. So then we are able to mindfully see what is going on in our body. Yes, and release, release, release. And remember, we are only human. We are humans, which is crazy. We are conscious beings. We are part of the nature, etc. So wow, that is crazy in itself if you think about it. We all go through triggers because we all had things or have things from our past that bothers us, and that is absolutely fine. That's absolutely normal. And I want to talk about it because in our society, feeling emotions is not promoted at all. Emotions are some sort of, I don't know, evil things, but no, emotions are there for us to be connected to our core, to our body, to our humans, to us, as to our essence, who we are as human beings. And triggers are the pointers of direction for us to look there, and that is absolutely fine. That's absolutely normal. We all go through it, and we shouldn't be ashamed of them. But once you decide consciously that you want to take a full responsibility and full control over your life as a creator of your reality, then yes, well done. And this is what I am promoting in this channel. I want us to take the full responsibility over these things, and we won't be able to take a full responsibility if we are not aware and conscious of these things. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so that is that, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of the comments, likes, dislikes. Thank you so much for you guys. I deeply appreciate you, every single one of you, seriously. And yes, take care of yourself, and I'm sending love and peace. And yes, keep going regardless what everyone else is saying. You are the powerful being, and that is that, full stop. See you next time. Bye.